District Attorney General, if you'll just open up with a general statement, if you don't mind, about threats in the handful of counties that you cover.
Sure. We have 4 counties here in the 9th Judicial District, and we're seeing the same threats or types of threats that a lot of Knox County and other counties are seeing after the North Georgia shooting. And the emphasis we're trying to make is that we're cooperating with law enforcement, the director of schools, especially here in Roane County, to assess and evaluate the sincerity, credibility of these threats, and try to move forward with charges where appropriate, or clear them if not. And law enforcement, stressing they're trying to do everything to run these down and make sure the schools and students and faculty are safe.
From where you sit as District Attorney General, how frustrating is this from where you sit and watching all of the other entities involved research and investigate these threats?
Yeah, I don't think people appreciate the amount of time, effort, stress, and frustration this creates, especially for the investigators and the school resource officers, teachers, school administrators. There's a lot of social media just fuels the fire with these things. I know parents are scared for their kids hear things and report it to other people and back to their parents. So it just adds to the chaotic nature of the situation, the confusion involved. And like I said, we're trying to make the point that law enforcement's doing what they're supposed to be doing. We're working with them. We're asking the parents to be patient. It's a lot of stuff's going on behind the scenes. Why are they not putting stuff on Facebook? Why are they not putting press releases out? Well, until you determine something's credible, you're not going to sit there and say, we're at such and such school and here's what's going on. That just makes it worse. So we've had 4 juveniles that we've charged in 2 counties of my 4 counties, 1 in Morgan County and 3 now in Roane County. At least 2 of those are in custody at this point, and maybe a third. And we're, have removed those children from the schools, and so those schools are in good shape. We feel like they're protected. The point law enforcement and all of us would make, we all have children, grandchildren in schools. We're going to do everything we can to protect the schools, and law enforcement is going to act as immediately as possible if something appears to be credible and sincere threat, and doing all they can. Everything on Facebook, social media just adds to the confusion, the problem. Parents, keeping their kids out of school. I can't tell them not to, but I want to assure them in my 4 counties, at least, and I'm sure in all the other counties, law enforcement's doing everything they can, working with the school system, and everybody's taking this seriously.
Threats have become more and more common, but one of the more unique parts about your most recent release and the threats you all are experiencing, you said that one of the threats that's circulating right now is actually from 4 years ago. How does that preach to your point of just social media complicating everything, and more so important for folks when they see something, probably not the best idea to share it immediately?
Right. If somebody dredges something up from 4 years ago that's already been cleared, especially if we think this person's motivated because of who the child's parents are and where they work, that's truly unfortunate. It's malicious. It's not fair, especially to the child that is moved on, trying to move on. With each of these threats, the ones especially that end up in juvenile court, we're asking the juvenile services departments to utilize the Tennessee Resiliency Project at Helen Ross McNabb that does the threat assessment, and they do the mental health evaluations. And like I say, they try to determine what's going on in that child's life that causes him or her to spread the rumor, make a threat. Why is it? Is it just being disruptive? Is it because something's going on at home? Is it because they're being bullied at school? Is it just a cry for attention? Do they have mental health issues, substance abuse issues? Our immediate concern is protecting the school, and then the next concern is, let's see what's wrong with the child that's caused them to do this, and let's try to get the services in there and get the situation corrected if we can.
One of the things that we've had folks in Roane County reach out to us about is apparently they say there was a student at Rockwood High School who was taken away by authorities and released right back there the same day. The way that your press release reads, that never happened. Is that something you can confirm or deny for us?
You know, they're investigating threats at a lot of different schools. You know, I can't say that someone wasn't pulled out of the classroom or taken off campus to be interviewed, but if they've returned them to school, they've deemed that not to be a credible, sincere threat or not even a threat at all. You know, like I said, if they thought it was, they wouldn't have put that child back in school to potentially cause harm to students and faculty. Because like I say, it's a community. We all have kids and grandkids in schools, and they're just not going to do that. That's especially one of the points that the Roane County Sheriff's Office wanted me to make. I know, talked to the director of schools. There's parents that have been showing up at the school board office, and they've shown up at the sheriff's department. And I know Chief Deputy Tim Phillips and Chief Deputy Tim Hahn talked to an individual and said, "Look, do you really think we would, you know, do that? You know, we've got kids in these schools ourselves, you know." So I'm trying to calm the fears as much as I can, but you know, I certainly understand as a parent. I understand any idea or thought of any sort of threat with your kid's school. You know, just has to cause tremendous amount of stress and anxiety for the parent and the kids. So it's hard to get mad at people that, you know, kind of go to the extreme, but you know, we're talking about their kids, and I understand that.
General Johnson, is there anyone, not just the post from 4 years ago, but any of these threat posts, whether they're trying to bring awareness or like, hey, my kid has seen this, has your kid seen this, can people sharing those messages face possible charges as well, not just the students, but anybody else sharing that threat for any other reason?
Yeah, it's hard to find that to be a violation of the law unless they're doing more to it. I think in one instance, a post was shared, but the student added to it and called out names of people that were going to do certain things that were not even associated with the post and were totally fabricated. So not only was that a false reporting of a threat, they're doing harm to the other students named in the threat that didn't say anything or take any action to make a threat. And you know, we talked about how it's akin in some respects to back, you know, when I was in school in the 70s and 80s, and kids would pull the fire alarm to get out of a test or get out of school. And you know, kids may think, well, let's put this out there and maybe we'll get out of school. We've even seen things like that where it said we're going to be busting out today because of this, you know, post or threat or whatever. And you know, they think it's fun, it's harmless. It's not. It's very harmful, and it makes it difficult for us to understand when kids are just doing this to be kids and when there's a legitimate, credible threat that might result in something tragic. So it's, as you can imagine, it's a huge headache for us, and especially for the investigators involved. And my thoughts go out to the school administrators, directors of schools, the principals, teachers. I'm sure they're having a hard time dealing with this as well.
Kind of wrapping things up here, what's, again, your message to folks involved in this and even folks in the community about what they can do to stop this and what they can do to help out investigators and you all in this process?
Sure. For the kids and parents, or parents of kids involved in this, there are serious consequences. We're talking about detention. I think I referenced in the press release where one individual from Roane County High School is going to be in juvenile detention probably till the end of September at least, when we have a hearing. So the child of a parent is going to be in a detention facility for a period of time. They're going to have to undergo rigorous evaluations, and then you know, some of these are zero tolerance violations at school. So there are definite consequences. Parents need to talk to their kids about, hey, if you get this, go to the teacher, go to a school administrator. Don't just immediately share it and put yourself in danger. They may think it's a good idea. Hey, don't come to school tomorrow because of this, and then just go on and not do anything about it. And it ultimately gets shared around multiple times and becomes a big issue. You know, go directly to the teacher and say, hey, I've received this, or someone said this, or I heard this. Give it to a responsible person in charge at school instead of being part of the problem.
General Johnson, anything else we left out you feel like you need to add?
No, I think we're good. I appreciate y'all bringing attention to it, and that's the reason, like I said in the press release, we want to put the law out there so people can actually read the statute and understand it is a Class E felony. Granted, it's prosecuted in juvenile court, but that brings consequences for kids that ultimately want to go to college, want to be in the military or something, and well, it's my juvenile history, it doesn't matter. Well, in some cases it can matter, especially when you're talking about felony type false report charges or threats of mass violence. So there's real life consequences involved here.
General, if you're good, we're good.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Appreciate your time. Take care.
Thanks.